Ryan Leaf here on the Rich Eisen Show, 9 a.m., 3 hours before you called the Sun, but you will be calling the Sun Belt Championship on ESPN between Louisiana and a four-letter word for me, Appalachian State. Good to see you, Ryan Leaf. How are you, sir?
Good to see you, too.
You got it. So, again, hot tea, lemon, and honey is the way you're going to get to that Sun Belt Championship.
15th game. Speaking in Chicago tomorrow morning. Heading to the airport after this. Okay. So, I appreciate that help.
You got it, yeah. So, how do you think it's all going to shake out when it's all said and done?
I think the committee told us on Tuesday night. I think they said by putting Utah at number 5, if LSU does what they're supposed to do and beats Georgia, I think Utah is going to win the Pac-12 championship and get in.
You do think so?
Yep. I think they told us they don't have a top 25 win. And Oklahoma has a top 7 win, and they still believe they're a better football team.
Okay. So Oklahoma would beat Baylor, win the Big 12 championship, but Utah goes as the 4th seed. If Georgia beats LSU, you don't think LSU goes?
Oh, no.
If LSU beats Georgia, obviously.
Yeah, if Georgia beats LSU, everybody's out. Like LSU and Georgia will go with Clemson and Ohio State. So it would be 2 SEC teams.
Now, is that part of is that a Pac-12 bias for you? That might be in play?
There might be a little bit, just because I've seen them more than anybody. I mean, you watched Paul Feinbaum yesterday just blab all about Utah and their ability not to get to the game, because I just don't think he's watched them. If you've watched Utah, you can tell they're one of the best 4 teams. And I think if they end up playing LSU in round 1, that means LSU has to leapfrog Ohio State if they win. I think that gives them the best chance to get to the national championship.
Utah can actually take on LSU.
I do believe that defense is special.
Listen to you pound this table for the Utah Utes. Okay. So you really think that the Utah Utes win the Pac-12 championship? So let's start step 1. Why do you think Utah beats Oregon in this game?
What they've shown us all year long. Defense, offensive efficiency. Tyler Huntley's been the best player in the Pac-12 and what he does at the quarterback position. And they've dominated. They've been 21, 28.5 point favorites the last 3 weeks.
Right.
And covered. They're destroying people. They just don't want to beat people. They want to put them under the ground. And that's what they've done. And I think they'll do it to Oregon by double digits.
Okay. And then so Utah gets in if by dint of glory. I don't even know how that would happen over Oklahoma. And I know about, schedule, and I know about what you just mentioned about how they're finishing strong. It's also with the ultimate of respect. I hear it go, with all due respect. I actually just went there there.
You did.
It's a beautiful state, Utah. A lot of great people there.
I'm heading there Sunday.
I understand, but when it all comes down to it, I mean, on the last Saturday of this year, when everybody's getting around, I mean, are you going to tune into Utah versus LSU, Utah versus Ohio State, or are you going to tune into Oklahoma instead? With Jalen Hurts, a player that you've heard of and a team that you've actually seen play on the national stage, with a head coach that's rumored to be the apple of so many NFL eyes and front offices.
You're still going to tune in. It's the national semifinal. You're going to tune in, regardless of who it is. And Utah's going to give whoever a better shot and run at their money than the Oklahoma team will. I think Clemson and Ohio State are the best 2 teams in the country. Don't get me wrong.
You do.
I do. And I think Clemson does something unprecedented and wins 15 again and goes 30-0 over the last 2 years with 2 national championships. But I think Utah's going to be the number 4 team.
Ryan Leaf here on the Rich Eisen Show. Why are you down on LSU? I mean, you're saying that Utah, and I'm not saying that you don't think they're special. I'm saying that you're saying Utah could beat them. You're also saying Clemson and Ohio State are the best 2 teams. Why don't you put LSU in that category?
I do. I mean, I think they're one of the top 4 teams. I just think that if Utah has a chance to beat anybody in the semifinal, it's going to be LSU, just because their defense is so good. And if they can shut down Joe Burrow in that offense, they have a shot. I don't think anybody can stop Ohio State and Clemson. And it would be a shame if they played in the semifinal. I'd rather see them in the national championship.
Well, I mean, if the college football playoff committee is in agreement with you, they'll separate them. They'll set a path up for these teams to face each other.
I hope so. I sat in that room and I've watched how it played out in the mock committee, and it's odd. They put these pools of 6 teams, and they're not thinking about that stuff, or at least they say they're not thinking about stuff. But I agree with you. There's something that plays into all of this.
Well, explain what you just You just said for people who might not. So you were in a mock committee. So you were invited to go down to the spot where the committee takes place,
Right.
and then go through the process and mock it. What the actual committee goes through.
Yes, so I got to go through the whole process, and ultimately there's 13 individuals, but it can break down as small as 7. A majority rules in that room.
Okay.
And if 7 people believe that LSU is the number 1 team in the country, they're going to be the number 1 team in the country.
Doesn't matter what the other 6 says.
Right. They get voted out.
It's not like an actual jury where it's got to be unanimous.
You can't filibuster. You can't lobby. I mean, you can lobby, but you have to have backers. It's
Right.
almost like Congress, just without a filibuster.
Oh, man. So, okay, Ryan Leaf here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now, Utah's only loss is to USC.
Mm-hmm.
And just yesterday, a lot of, I don't know how to put it, there was a lot of eyebrows, hue and cry. I'm still waiting for the first USC fan that I know, and there's tons of them here, who are like, Mike Bohn, that was a really good move, the new AD. Just let's stick with Clay Helton. He's the guy. We just need to improve part of the program. I don't know what that meant. Do you agree with the maneuver that the new athletic director at USC made when sticking with Clay Helton?
If he didn't have a plan in place, a true plan of who he was going to hire, then yes. Because if you, by getting rid of one guy and paying all that money just to bring somebody in that just to replace him with not your guy, that doesn't do good for anybody. I know the fan base is up in arms over this. Furious.
I mean, look, this guy's a good guy. He's anybody who knows him likes him. He's a genuinely passionate individual. I don't know, again, if a single USC fan says good move. And as a matter of fact, they're saying we don't trust the new athletic director. Is basically what I'm hearing.
I'm not ready to buy that. I think it's a good move. I think there's just some consistency, especially with all the nuance that's been going on at that university, stabilizing something. He probably had his best coaching year of his career this year. Mm-hmm. There's been 5 10-win seasons in the history of USC football. 5. Mm-hmm. Clay Helton has 3 of them. He's a good football coach. Now the recruiting process, that's a different scenario. He's been bad in recruiting because of this, because of the fact that they don't know who's going to be the head coach. And Mike Bohn gave a boost of confidence to say, hey, he's our guy.
For a year.
That's the thing. I would need to see like some kind of extension because guess what? Next year at this time, are we going to be in the same boat? That's the problem with all this. You either start over or you commit. And I don't know what they did in this process by just saying, all right, he's here again next year.
Yeah, no, that's essentially it.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Because let's be honest here. I mean, USC not in the Pac-12 championship, and they used to be in the conversation with Ohio. I mean, Alabama and Clemson. They were that. I mean, that was it.
They get a chance. They open the season next year, first game of the year against Alabama. And
where's that, in Dallas?
It's probably going to be in a neutral site, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Pac-12 has a chance next year. Ohio State goes to Eugene to play Oregon. Mm-hmm. Michigan goes to Washington in week 1.
Well, and you know what? I will be livid if they make that a 9 a.m. Pacific start time, because
I don't think they will.
That would make me absolutely livid.
Because you wouldn't want to get up that early to watch it?
No. It's you take an East Coast team or an Eastern time zone team and send them to anywhere west and say, you're going to play football at 9 in the morning. Who the hell does that? You'd have to wake the team up at like 3, 4 in the morning and go through your routine and play at 9 a.m. and be done. And then to be the first guinea pig team to do that, Michigan didn't sign for that when they agreed to play at Washington, millions of moons ago.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that
No,
either.
but that's what everybody's saying. Like Pac-12 needs to be more relevant. The fact that we, again, to bring this conversation full circle with you, Ryan Leaf, is that we're talking about, many people believe doesn't matter what Utah does. I mean, you are talking facts about how good their defense is and about results and about schedule, but it may not matter because folks are not going to, as much as you say, folks are going to tune into Utah because they're playing in a nationally televised semifinal. It's still not a team that people know of or used to or can get behind nationally or just surf in just because they want to watch football. And part of the reason is Pac-12 football is played in the middle of the night, okay? and nobody really sees it. On the East Coast, they're asleep.
Yep.
So better way to do that is put it on at noon Eastern time for the whole country to see. But Michigan shouldn't be the first, or Ohio State, or any Eastern time zone team, a guinea pig week 1, and in a spot like Washington, in that environment, it's insane enough to try and win there.
Put them at the 12:30 game. Just put them at the 12:30.
3:30 in the afternoon,
Yeah.
Eastern time zone.
Yeah, put them at 12:30. Wait till you get to the Pac-12.
Right.
And then do the guinea pig of the 9 a.m.
Okay, so by the way, USC Alabama is in the Jones Mahal. It is in Dallas, Texas next year to kick things off. So your prediction would be what? By Sunday, we will hear what for the college football playoff?
I think we're going to see. I think LSU is going to jump Ohio State with a win against number 4 Georgia. Or this is the way I hope it plays out.
Yes.
Clemson's been my number 1 team all year long, but they're not going to be placed at number 1 because they don't have the resume to show for it. So I got LSU at 1, Ohio State at 2, Clemson at 3, Utah at 4. Utah upsets LSU in the national semifinal, plays Clemson for the national championship. Clemson's the 2-time defending national championship. That's how I see it all playing out.
That's how you see it.
Yep.
How do you think it will play out? If you're not correct.
I think Ohio State probably stays at 1, so they can get the national championship they want. Ohio State dominates a Utah team in the first semifinal. Clemson dominates an LSU team in the second semifinal. Ohio State, Clemson play a much closer game than people expect, but ultimately Clemson ends up wins it.
Ryan, thanks for coming in, man. Again, hot tea, lemon, honey. Get on that plane. Don't talk unless you really just have to. And I look forward to hearing you full-throated and hearty Saturday, noon Eastern time on ESPN, calling the Sun Belt Championship.
Appalachian.
Against Louisiana and Appalachian State. Again, that's a 4-letter word for me. Thanks for coming in, man.
You bet.
You got it. That's at Ryan D. Leaf on both Twitter and Instagram.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.